Hi guys, welcome to Full Time Devils. I am Mckola. He is Abdullah. We're outside Old Trafford for Manchester United versus Cardiff, the preview. Now, obviously, unlike many of our previews, we're not on Skype, but our Skype previews will be back in action for the new season. Right now, we're looking ahead to the game, the final game of the season here at Old Trafford between Manchester United and, of course, Cardiff, who have been relegated. We saw the team we played against last time out. They'd already been relegated, and they managed to get a 1-1 draw against Manchester United. A victory here in this game could see United potentially finish 5th, which would guarantee us a group stage spot in the Europa League, and means we potentially miss out on what could be a very annoying qualifier earlier in the summer. But the question is, does anybody care about 5th right now? We're hearing all the talk about protests and this, that, and the other, and of course, no talk about the football. Does anyone care about 5th, or are we all beyond caring about this season?
Do I care about 5th? No. Do I care about this team? No. Do I care about football now? No. It's just one of them. Like, I don't remember being this deflated going to a United game. Like, I genuinely don't care. I don't care about anyone in that team anymore after that performance against Huddersfield. It's just the general vibe around all the United fans is similar, you could say, as well, after the Huddersfield game. Whether we finish 5th, whether we end up being in that qualifier, which I think might end up cutting our pre-season short, or we might have to split the squad, which will maybe be a bit of a kick up the arse for Ed Woodward, because that will obviously affect the sponsors and stuff abroad. So yeah, of course, in terms of money and sponsorship, you'd be worried if you are Ed Woodward, but as a fan, genuinely don't care. If we get the qualifiers, throw the kids in the qualifiers, see what they can do. If we go through, if we miss Europa, who's arsed really? It doesn't matter.
I mean, if Manchester City win the cup, it means that obviously 6th place gets that spot in the group stages anyway, I believe. But we're relying on City again to do us a favour if we finish 6th. I kind of understand your feeling of can't be arsed for this season anymore. I'm not going to say I don't care about. You know, I know you don't mean you don't care about Manchester United when you say you don't care about the team. You just feel that there's a disconnect between fans and the players at this moment in time. And whilst I understand that, I do feel a lot of that is born out of defeats and defeats and defeats. And it almost looks like players aren't trying. Doesn't mean they don't care necessarily. I think, even some of the players that we think are awful, Young, Smalling, whoever, it doesn't mean they don't care. They're just not good enough. And I think this whole squad is a mishmash. 4 different managers' teams. Some summers before when Fergie was here and we failed to invest. So the players that are left over from that era aren't good enough. And the players that we've brought in since then for those 3 different managers have obviously all been to fill a different kind of, to use the P word that Van Gaal loved, philosophy. And we have to look at that as a mishmash of a squad. Now, that doesn't mean all of them don't care, but at the moment it seems far too easy at United to just turn up, pick up your wages, no demands of you as a player, and that's what we kind of laughed at Arsenal for, having no demands onto their players. They could just turn up, if we get top 4 it's all right, turn up towards the end of the season. Now, some of the pressure that's been on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's shoulders, whilst I agree, if you're going to get praised for the 13-game, 14-game run, then you have to get criticised for what follows it if the results aren't good enough. I do feel a little bit sorry for him in the sense that he hasn't really had chance to change this squad. He hasn't had chance to do anything with this squad. And therefore, we have to allow him time. Like we all allowed, Moyes time, even though, by the end of it, he got the sacking just like he deserved. Van Gaal got that time. And whether we like it or not, Mourinho got that time as well. So we have to allow Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that time. The problem is many of us are frustrated with what's happening above the manager's head, what we're seeing on the pitch, no leadership on the board, no leadership on the pitch. And that's just making us lose that feeling of joy. But, after Paris, everyone was firmly up many of these players' arses. So results do change things very, very quickly in football. But I do agree that this squad, many of them, aren't good enough to be playing for Manchester United, and that has to be addressed. Can that be addressed in one transfer window? I don't think so. Talking about this game at hand, winning for 5th, I don't care about 5th. The only thing that can get me really excited about this game, I think, is seeing some of the youngsters out there.
Yeah, I think even if you look at the Europa League, which could potentially happen, instantly you want to see the youngsters because you can see them as meaningless games in a way. And I think that's the same that applies to this game. Cardiff at home, end of the season, not really going to change your fate much. That's a good opportunity to throw some of those kids in. And we were speaking about it earlier, it'd be clever as well from Ollie, from his end, to throw some of these kids in because no one's going to really get on their back. I'd like to see a few come in who could potentially be leaving or have already left. Valencia, Herrera. I'd like to see them in the mix.
We'll talk about team selection a little bit later.
But talking solely about the kids, I think I'd love to see a couple of those come in because I think it will build their confidence throughout the summer if they have a good game. And, you know, one Premier League game as a youngster, if you have a good game and you can shine, you can see the difference that can make in terms of selection and all that for next season. And gives more questions for Ollie in terms of what he can do with the squad next season. Going back to the point about, you know, the disconnect and that with the dislike sort of that I have as a fan. Obviously, we still love the club. We'll still be here on the weekend. It's just the fact that I think Gary Neville mentioned it. We've never had that sort of this weird dislike that we do with some of those players. Now, you mentioned obviously some of them, they're just not good enough. They are working hard. I think some of them is just mentality as well. You could agree with me on that. They're hesitant on the ball. They don't want to take risks. Put ability out the way. If you're a Premier League player, surely you have that on your locker. And some of those players, we've seen that with certain managers over the years. You know, there's no one really leading that team out there, and just a lack of anything really. No connection between the fans. Some of those players, some of them just don't understand the club as well, and it's really frustrating that they just, some of them genuinely don't care. I know he said, you know, some of those players aren't good enough. I'm pretty sure some of those players on that pitch genuinely don't care. That they don't care about our fate, whether we finish Champions League or not. These guys are just willing to pick up their wages, like you said, and then that's it. Whether we make it, we don't. And that's the disheartening thing as a fan. If there's a bit of effort showing, then you can back that. And like you look at Scott McTominay in the last couple of games, why is he looking the best of the bunch? When we were, as fans, as myself, was slating him and saying, is he good enough or not? Why is he looking the best of the bunch when the likes of Alexis Sanchez are on that pitch? Why is he making the most effort? Why is he scoring the goal against Huddersfield? Where's the rest of the team? And that's the unfortunate sort of situation that we've rolled in towards the end of the season, where no one really cares, to be honest.
You say no one cares. Do you think anybody will care about the players that are leaving? You mentioned it earlier. There could be a few goodbyes at Old Trafford on the weekend. Some that we may not realise are goodbyes until after the game, or a week or two later. Rumours keep intensifying about Herrera, and if we believe the rumours, then there should be an announcement coming soon. Valencia's definitely off. Everyone's pretty much confirmed himself. Do you want to see those guys giving a farewell? Or do you think that just feeling of not caring will just continue?
I 100% want to see a couple of those players get a farewell, and only because of what they've served and given the club, and that's Antonio Valencia. In terms of general everything around the game, I don't. Some of those players as well that could potentially be leaving. I said this last week, and a lot of fans did. They were like, at this rate, it's hit us where we don't care who leaves. But at the same time, because Valencia will be leaving on a free, and we've already sort of heard that a couple of months ago, and he's been a good servant for us. Yes, over the last couple of years, he has fallen off. Of course, he's aged as well. So, and he sort of was a makeshift right back for many years. So, you've just got to be thankful for someone like Antonio Valencia and give him the farewell that he deserves. He's won titles there. He's challenged for everything under us, under Sir Alex and then Moyes and then Van Gaal, Mourinho and Ollie now. So he has been involved in the team, and he has been in and around some really good sides that we've had. So
it's madness, because when we signed him, it kind of epitomised like where we started to fall off. I know we still won trophies after them, but replacing Ronaldo with Valencia, Owen and Obertan, I've spoken about it so many times. I spoke about it when Mourinho was sacked. I spoke about it when Van Gaal was appointed. I've spoken about so many of those things in the past, but that kind of signified that kind of where we started tailing off. But as you say, Antonio Valencia has been involved in successful sides. he has been committed as well. Whether he's good enough or not is a question that, you know, anyone can answer, and I've criticised him in the past too, and I believe it was the right decision to take him out of the team. But one thing that he always gave was hard work. One thing that he always did was dedicate himself to United, and for that you have to say thank you. He's also had very successful spells at the club, Player of the Year and all that stuff as well. So fair play to him, and I hope he has, you know, good luck to whatever he does moving on, and hopefully he gets a good send-off. Don't know what's going to be going on. Are people going to be leaving early and all that? But hopefully he plays and, you know, people give him a clap, or he gets subbed on or subbed off or something like that, because he does deserve that. Anyway, moving on to the team. What team do you want to see? Do you want to see him subbed on, or do you want to see him start?
I'd start him. What's Ashley Young going to do better than him? I'd start him, maybe even captain him as well, since he has captained us. Is he our captain?
He was our club captain.
Club captain, yeah. So
he may still be our club captain. He just
I think
play.
Young was vice. So yeah, I'd start him. You can't do any worse than Ashley Young, and we don't have much to.
De Gea in goal.
Yeah, De Gea in goal. What else are you going to do? I don't know if Romero's back or not. Yeah, I'd just stick to De Gea in goal. Valencia, Lindelof, Jones. At left back, Luke Shaw. There's no options as well from the younger lads at left back, so you'll have to go with Luke Shaw, even though he's disappointing against Huddersfield. Very in midfield. I'd love to see Jimmy Garner involved, but I'd probably start McTominay, Herrera, and Pogba. Herrera could be leaving. That's heartbreaking.
Herrera off for Garner.
Yeah.
Maybe signifying the squad change as well, if the way things continue to go.
Exactly, so that it could work out like that. So yeah, say Herrera, McTominay, Pogba in that midfield. Pogba as well, that's another one that could leave. 10, I'd love to see Gomez in a 10. And then as the front
like
two,
a diamond?
Yeah, as more of a diamond. The front two, I'd love to see Mason Greenwood. There's no one else other than Rashford fit right now in that attacking line, so Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, I'd say is the front two. Yeah, so I'd love to see a diamond. Like, I think that should be sort of the team we set up with, considering there's not much to play for, and you'd love to see some of those players get an opportunity that they're not going to get at the start of next season, because you're going to be straight away trying to challenge and all that. So I think that's a reasonable sort of team to look at. Maybe shuffle a couple in there, but I'd love to see that.
I'd like to see Valencia start, get that goodbye. I'd like to see Herrera start as well, get that goodbye. And I like Herrera. Obviously disappointed he's leaving, but again, I kind of half. Because, you know, if you believe some of the demands or the wage he's going to get at PSG, 200k a week or whatever, if we meet that, we'd be paying him that when he's like 33, 34. So I totally understand. It's just a weird player to start with.
100%.
Because if you're going to start doing that, you start doing that with the Youngs and the Joneses and the Smallings and that. Anyway, let's not get into that right now. There'll be plenty of time for that debate in the pre-season, because I'm sure we'll be going over these topics again and again and again. And you can also check out the podcast as well. And we're doing a video this week on Unfollow Man United with all your thoughts on that campaign too. Whether you're for it, against it, you have ideas for an alternative, whether you want a platform to get your opinion heard, Full Time Devils is the place for Manchester United fans to do that. And Unfollow Man United will be doing a video this week, so send your thoughts into fulltimedevils@gmail.com. To WeTransfer landscape videos as well, remember. But yeah, moving on from that then to the opposition, Cardiff, Neil Warnock, Brexit's Bluebirds are going down. What do you make of Cardiff, and do they have anything to put fear into us?
Probably they want to get one on Ollie. A lot of them were fuming when
remember the first game against Cardiff, 5-1?
Yeah.
It's when it all started so well.
And they were talking about, before he joined, they were like, oh, he relegated us, he's not good enough. A lot of the Cardiff.
Vincent Tam relegated them, I think.
So, yeah, you can't bring in a manager.
Was that his name?
I think it was Vincent Tam, pretty sure. That might be different.
Apologies if it was a different name. He does sound like one of those dodgy dealers that the Premier League has had over the years. Was he? No, that's not the one that was at City. Remember when City had a...
There's been too many of them.
The one... City had an owner just before the... Is it Qataris came in? Or the Arabs came in?
The Emirate dudes.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. There's a lot of these dodgy dealers. I think is the Malaysian guy, this guy, where they changed the shirt colour and everything at Cardiff. So they've not had a great time over the years. They've come up to the Premier League. Unfortunately, I think they didn't make the signings that were needed last summer, and I think they will turn up trying to prove a point and leave the Premier League in a good way, I'd say. So. Yeah, I'd expect them to turn up and give it a shot, and that's why, you know, I'd love to see some of those young lads challenged in a game like this. I think it's a very good opportunity to play those young lads, and it suits Cardiff coming up here trying to prove a point. Does suit that sort of what we want.
Sounds like what you're saying is you couldn't care less about Cardiff as much as you couldn't care less about this game.
Yes, mate. 100%.
Shit. How times have changed, eh? Sad times here at Old Trafford. We can only hope the good days return, but that's all we are doing at the moment because there's no hope in the guys above to make the correct decisions. We can only hope they're throwing off shit and some sticks, I suppose. Anyway, that's been their tactics for all this last 6, 7 years or 15 years or whatever. Abdullah, before you go, score prediction, please.
3-0 United. Mason Greenwood all three. Keep saying that until that comes off.
I'll go 2-0 United. I think we will see a few youngsters and I think they'll give us a bit of freshness and yeah, maybe a goal for Tony V and Herrera on their way out. Wouldn't be too bad. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the Full-Time Devils preview. Remember, like I said, the Skype previews will be making their return. It's just been a lot easier for us to do these at the moment with the quick turnover of games. But yeah, keep it locked to Full-Time Devils. Make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, keeping it locked for all the content that's coming this week. The Full-Time Devils podcast, which is on SoundCloud, Spotify and iTunes. The Unfollow Man United video, which will be coming soon this week as well. And plenty more around the game against Cardiff, the final game of the season. Don't worry though, we'll have you covered for the whole summer as well and all things going on here at Old Trafford. But for now, myself, Abdullah, we're out of here.